Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where each and every week we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. On today's episode, we continue our chat with Stephen Backhouse. We continue the adventure we've been taking through the original Sin story arc. Last week, we covered the main beats and ups and downs of that story, and really focused in on Thor's involvement at the beginning of the episode, but then we blew up the conversation later on, and we talked about the Punisher and Nick Fury and the Watcher and everything in between, the Winter Soldier. And Steven even gave us kind of a complete offshoot of the regular conversation. He gave us his breakdown of the recent Spider-Man No Way Home movie. So lots of great stuff in that episode. I hope you enjoyed that one. Today, we are going to dig into a original Sin tie-in story entitled Thor and Loki, the 10th Realm. This was a 5-issue story that went alongside with Original Sin that follows up with part of Thor's realization in Original Sin that he has a sister and that there is a 10th realm. All this time, we've known the realms of Asgard and the realms of Yggdrasil, the World Tree. There's 9 realms, just 9. Well, now there are 10. So we jump into this story, break down the 5 issues, kind of in a broad overview. Stephen and I just talk about the things we like from this. And Stephen, at the end of the episode, gives us kind of a primer on who Angela is. She's from the Spawn universe, the Todd McFarlane, Neil Gaiman controversy. We talk about that. There's a lot in this episode, a lot to enjoy and walk away with. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope that you go out and read this story and you check it out for yourself. That being said, I want to also encourage you, if you want to go out and check out something else, we encourage you to go rate, review, and subscribe to the show on iTunes. If you're not already subscribed, that'd be awesome. You can also follow us and rate us on Spotify now, which is another great way to engage with the show. This is something that I need to be better at. I'm just gonna bare my soul for you for a second. I need to be better at telling you that we have a Patreon. We have a Patreon, and we're putting up some fresh content this week where I'm going to start a Patreon exclusive little show called I've Got Issues, where I tell you everything else that I'm reading and what I'm enjoying outside of the world of Thor comics. So if you want to hear more talk of me even covering some DC comics, I'm going to cover some Superman, some Batman. It's nuts. You want to hear me cover those issues, go join our Patreon for a few dollars a month. You can be a part of our Thor Core, and you can get all that bonus content that is exclusive to our Patreon members. So be sure to go do that, and that'd be a great way to support the show. We'll do all the other stuff at the end of the episode. That stuff can wait. That stuff can wait for the end of our conversation with Stephen Backhouse. Today, we're going to be covering, like I said, Original Sin, Thor and Loki, the 10th Realm, with our special guest, Dr. Stephen Backhouse. Well, everybody, welcome to part 2 of our conversation with Stephen Backhouse. We're going to jump into a side story that was going along at the same time as Original Sin, which Stephen and I covered on last week's episode. This is a side story that focuses in on Thor and Loki and their response to Thor finding out, because of the secrets of the Watcher being released into the Marvel Universe, he finds out that he has a sister. And for a portion of the main story, Thor flies off and he's got to find the answer to that question. Luke Cage is even like, come on, dude, we're doing something right now. Like, do you really have to go figure this out now? And Thor flies away. He's like, oh, sorry, I can't hear you. Bye. Like, and so he flies off, and he and Loki go searching for his lost sister. But I have introed too long. Our esteemed guest, Stephen Backhouse, is back. Stephen, for those that weren't able to join us last week, maybe just tell people a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I am a writer. I write philosophy books. I write politics books. I write theology books. I think a lot about the relationship between politics and religion. I used to teach for various universities, and now I'm a freelancer. So I often do some teaching or writing for organizations that ask me to bring me in to help them think about how they structure themselves, how they use their power, how they organize themselves. And I do a lot of work with politicians as well, or people training in the world of government and politics who are trying to use their power well. And that's
Okay.
what I do. And that's good fun. But I don't get to talk about Loki and Thor very much. So
No, you do not. I can't imagine that comes up a lot. Like, yeah,
but I do talk about gods
yes,
and original sin. This is an original sin storyline and all that.
yes,
I do talk about that stuff from time to time. So this is a
yeah.
fun mixture.
So this storyline. Speaking of the original sin,
Yeah.
if you haven't listened to last week's episode, go do that. It really would be a good background for this story that focuses in on Thor. The original sin storyline as a whole is not a Thor centric storyline, like, say the War of the Realms would be. The War of the
Right.
Realms is another Jason Aaron crossover that is very Thor centric. I would say Original Sin is Thor adjacent.
It's weird because he gets really prominent splash pages and stuff in Original
Right?
Sin. And then he's hardly there at all. But
Like,
now we find out why. This is
yeah,
the
yeah.
story.
So this is what, if you read Original Sin and you're like, why is a Thor podcast covering Original Sin? This is really the story of
Yeah.
why we're doing this, because when Thor flies off and when Luke Cage doesn't understand why Thor's flying off, which is one of my favorite panels, uh, Thor flies back to Asgard and he's like, I need answers. I need answers. And Freya kind of sends him off to be like, well, the answer is out there. You lost a sister way back when. But if you think it's out there, she almost kind of talks him out of it. And Thor's like, I know what I saw. Like, I know what I heard. I know
There
this.
is a 10th realm, he says.
Yes, there is a 10th realm. And so he enlists Loki to help him, and they're able to enter through something called the Flux to the 10th realm, which is the realm of heaven.
Heaven.
It's heaven
Yeah.
because it's inhabited by angels, and it's very
It's inhabited by Magic the Gathering.
it is, yeah, it is. If you took a
Do you ever play Magic?
oh my
All
god.
the seraphs, yeah.
Oh my, yeah, they are, yes. They are, oh my gosh. I'm gonna, yeah, there's so many great references I could do there. So I'll just do it. Angela reminds me of a magic card. I believe it's entitled Aurelia the War Leader.
Okay.
But that's essentially who she is.
Yeah.
So anyway, that whole, oh my gosh, I've never actually been embarrassed for a nerdy reference in this podcast. It's like 60 episode history. I think I just reached my one bit of like, I can't believe I just referenced Magic the Gathering. But it's fine. It's fine. So they go on this trip to basically uncover answers, and Thor brings Loki along because Loki is helpful when it comes to getting information, and also from the previous the previous issues of Loki, Agent of Asgard, which we covered a long time ago with Dan the Articulator. We which go check out that episode. That was a really fun episode. But we learned that Loki owes Thor a favor, and Thor is cashing in his favor now. And this story takes them to heaven, where they fight their way through all these angels, and you learn a lot of backstory between the angels and Odin, that there was backstabbing involved, and the angels were told to guard Earth, guard Midgard for Odin, and then they turned on him and they made backdoor deals, and all this convolution happened.
They're like sexy Ferengi. If you want to get
Yes,
really, they're like the sexy Ferengi. They do everything
yes,
for money.
yes.
I like that. That was fun.
They're
But these
Ferengi that you
angels, they're
don't
like,
mind looking at.
yeah, they're just like, we'll do anything
No,
for a price.
a Star
Yeah.
Trek Next Generation reference. I really like that. Which I'm just gonna ask right now, Stephen, are you a
Huh?
Kirk or a Picard guy?
Picard guy. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
heck yeah. Well, William Shatner can go to space, but Patrick Stewart will always be Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
So, anyway, my current events reference.
But I'm probably a Deep Space Nine guy more than anything, actually.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Pound for pound, I probably enjoyed that more than
Okay.
Next
That
Generation.
I'm
Yeah,
slowly getting through Next Generation, and I'll have to
yeah.
check.
But I'm older than you, so I was watching it the first time around. I remember
Yeah,
it when
yeah.
it was first.
I'm the Netflix kid,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
burning through it. But back to Thor, man.
Back
Geez,
to Thor.
gotta actually.
Back to the sexy Ferengi. These
People
angels.
people came here for one thing.
Yeah,
It was not Next Generation. So when they get to heaven, Loki goes off and has a conversation with the Queen of the Angels and sets up kind of a deal to betray Loki, or betray Thor, standard
yeah,
Loki stuff.
yeah.
And Thor spends most of these issues fighting through, how do I put this? Like he's not fighting like trolls. He's fighting like these hot winged like warrior princesses, and he's got this rage in him because he's looking for his lost sister. He wants the answer to this question, and he comes into contact with Angela, who
Yeah.
is she's she's the hunter. They refer to her as the hunter captain or something like that. She's a big deal among the angels of heaven. And I know that there's a history with this character, Stephen, that you know a little bit
Yeah.
about that I'm honestly a novice about, but it involves Todd McFarlane and Neil
Yeah, like
Gaiman.
this is an interesting character. I mean, you should finish your storyline recap, and then we can talk about the
Yes.
real world.
So what happens is Loki makes a deal with the Queen of Heaven and to betray Thor, and he goes off to goes off with all these angelic, armies and ships to destroy Asgard because the Queen of Heaven wants Asgard destroyed because Odin and her don't like each other, essentially. And Loki takes her there, takes her forces there, and instead of destroying Asgard, they unlock the prison of the gods where Odin is being kept. And Thor and Loki backstabs the angels to free Odin, and Odin and Thor and Loki go back to heaven and they confront the queen and they tell Angela that she is the daughter of Odin, then the sister of Thor and Loki. And that's kind of the big points that the storyline covers. And then they all go off in their own direction afterwards. So
She, yeah, because
she goes
there's
off
like
to her
this,
own series.
but there's quite an opening. The opening scenes are of the Queen of Heaven killing Odin's daughter, right? In some
Yes.
sort of retribution. And then you can see the knife come down, and everybody, Freya and Odin, think that this girl is dead. This little baby girl is dead. And it's this shocking event.
Yeah.
Then we find out pages and pages and pages later that, oh, surprise, surprise. Actually, the baby didn't die. And actually, she was raised as the Queen of Heaven's daughter, and it's Angela, right? So I don't know. One of the things that it kind of bugged me about this was like, that's not a surprise. Like we all knew this, right? We were even told this like somewhere, like we were told Thor has a sister, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird that this thing took hundreds of pages to tell you that Thor has a sister. And it's like, there's this weird storytelling where like we all knew something that none of the characters knew. For
We had
pages
to
and
fight
pages.
all this way to get to that information that we already knew.
Which I found a really weird. I found it hard to get into this story for that reason. Actually,
Okay.
It's like I don't know. Thor having a sister is great. That's a cool idea. The 10th realm. That's a great idea. But they were setting it up as if it was a mystery that was going to be revealed at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no mystery here. We're just what's the mystery?
Honestly, the most compelling parts of this story were the last few pages of the last issue,
right?
Where Odin is like, hey, you are my daughter, like you don't have to be with them anymore, and she's like, no, you're not my dad. Like, for me, it mirrored Odin's relationship with Loki. If maybe the roles had been switched,
right? Yeah.
And Angela, she doesn't like go up and be like, "Hey, Dad," and like give him a hug.
No, she
That
doesn't.
is definitely
Yeah.
not the vibe. But we know it's true. So I'm sure someday we will cover the limited series that spun out of this. The Angela Asgard's Assassin, I think, is the
Okay.
title. We'll cover
She
that
was like
someday.
they made her she put one of the Guardians of the Galaxy for a while as well, I
Yeah,
think. And
and
yeah,
we will someday cover As Guardians of the Galaxy.
as Guardians of the
That'll
Galaxy.
be fun because that crosses two worlds that I really enjoy.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
yeah, she does not end the story with I would say a resolution that we um that is how do you put this? They're not buddy buddy at the end. It's like
Oh.
the end of the story is okay, the information that we thought was true is true. Now everybody go their own way.
What happens? What is Thor's arc here? Because it's weird. Like for a story that has Thor in the title,
Yes.
he's not really a character, really. He just is a, he's just fighting people all the time. He doesn't,
Yeah,
I don't
so
get much sense of his story or of his emotional arc at all here.
I think his story in these 5 issues is one more of aggression and being feeling like information was kept from him
Yeah.
and being almost not maybe being betrayed, but realizing that secrets were kept from him, and because of the original sins being released into the Marvel universe,
Yeah.
he now knows that there's a whole realm of 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 the world that he didn't know about. I think it's more
Yeah.
it actually more comes back on him and Odin, which with Thor, everything comes back to his relationship with Odin. Eventually, it always does.
Yeah.
And I think more
He's
his
such a bad
frustration.
dad.
He's
There's
terrible.
like this scene where Odin goes, "I love you. I love all my children." They're like, "No,
I
you
was going to
don't."
talk about that. That is one of my favorite. So I think I screenshotted that. I'm gonna. Good
Yeah,
grief!
there's a little tear going down his cheek.
Look at me and my professionalism. So the panel says this, and Loki and Thor are talking, and then ahead of them, Odin is having he's saying this out loud, which is ridiculous because it feels like a thought bubble.
Right.
But he says, "My children, my sons and my daughter, and my child who is both, so strong and so quick, so brave and so cunning. I know you. I know everything you are, and I love you very,
Yeah.
very much." The least Odin-like line that has ever been written for him, like in comics. This
It's very weird.
and
Yeah.
then and then Thor says, "Father," and Loki's like, "Father," like very like down, and he said, and Odin kind of breaks from the emotional thing. He's like, "Enough! I will say no more." Like, and then you pan back to future Loki, who's looking back at this. He's like, "You never once said that to me.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the hell?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just kind of that was my favorite panel when it comes to like I didn't expect it. I didn't
Yeah. I
expect
didn't
Odin to
expect it.
say "I love you."
Yeah.
Odin is
Yeah.
your greatest generation dad. Like he doesn't say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different beats toward the end that I'm like, that's what I would have loved to parse out more. Like
Yeah. I like the idea of bad Loki, bad future Loki. I like the idea
walking over.
of young agent Loki trying to rebel against his future self. I quite enjoy that.
It's a great series.
That
It's a
is a good
really good
series. Is
series.
that from the agent? Is that Agent of Asgard
That's
kind of
Agent of
story?
Asgard. And what's kind of cool about this series was it was co-written by Jason Aaron, who is one of
Yeah.
the quintessential Thor writers, and it was co-written with Al Ewing.
Yeah. See, this is Al Ewing is a revelation to me. I really enjoyed his stuff.
So
So
what was
yeah.
the first thing of Al Ewing's you read?
Yeah, the Hulk stuff. The red
Okay.
was it what's the whole storyline? Like it's the red door, the green door, and the
It's Immortal Hulk,
immortal Hulk. Yeah.
which oh boy, like that is a whole big can of worms. Like it's such a great
Yeah.
series and revitalized the Thor or the Hulk character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Al Ewing's work with Loki also is really
Okay.
good because he digs into like Loki versus his more evil, sinister self, and female Loki gets thrown in there, because
And you can really see the imprint of that on the Disney Plus series, right? The Loki.
yeah, yep,
Yeah, which
um,
is fun. I kind of caught whiffs of that. So I watched the Disney Plus and I really liked it. And I was
yeah,
like, yeah, I know that there's something going on here with the Loki storylines, which I haven't been following, but
yeah. I would
yeah.
highly recommend Agent of Asgard, which is going on at the same time as this.
Yeah. Do you know I know I am one phone call away from Tom Hiddleston.
You
we
are.
have a we have a mutual friend. And I would love to. I don't know how I could ever get Loki on the phone, but if my life depended on it, put it that way, I could get Tom Hiddleston on the phone if my life depended on it.
By the way, in any conversation, you lead with that. Like, I am one phone call away. I am one
I,
degree
I,
from
I
Tom.
know I'm friends with somebody that went to school with Tom Hiddleston, so there you go.
Oh my gosh. So actually, you know what? Let's talk about this, because the storyline of these issues is pretty simplistic, and it's
Yeah,
maybe something it could have been done in 3 issues.
I'm a fan of Jason Aaron and Al Ewing, but together they didn't. I don't know. This was a weird one. I told you this off mic that I didn't
Yeah,
enjoy this one as much. I liked Original Sin that we did last week. I really
yeah,
liked that. I thought the writing was sustained. This one I just thought was just kind of endless fighting.
yeah, and sometimes, like, I honestly, I'm a fan of a good Thor fight scene,
Right.
but I don't know if I needed 5 issues of it.
And nothing is here about him losing his, because in that great thing where he lost his hammer in Original Sin, that doesn't get talked about here at all, does it?
Well, I think continuity wise, it hadn't happened yet, because
Right. Okay.
these issues are happening smack dab in the middle. Because he even says towards the end, he's
Right.
like, "I've got to go back to Midgard, and I've got to help out with
Yeah.
other stuff that's going on." So I don't think the hammer thing has happened.
Okay.
But
Because that would have been really interesting.
oh my, trying to beat all defeat all the hot babes of heaven without a hammer.
Yeah.
My gosh, it's just like I almost thought like the Wonder Woman movie, all the
Yeah.
warriors of Themyscira. That's kind of the vibe I got from them.
Yeah, I did too. Again, it was a little bit, to me, I was a bit like, well, I kind of have seen this before. Like I know what's going on here. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem to me, it seemed like the stakes, we were being asked to believe that the stakes were so high that Thor would drop everything and instantly leave, like he's like that great scene, with Luke Cage, and that he would then, that these are the events that are going to lead to him losing so much of his own self-belief that he'll even lose the ability to hold his own hammer. And so we're asked to believe that the stakes are really high, but what we're given instead is basically a superhero, a bit like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And they live in a realm that we never heard of before. But I was like, yeah, but we're always being introduced to those kind of things, aren't we? Like that doesn't seem that big a deal, really.
Well, I think so. The thing about this story that I think maybe I didn't understand it. That's perfectly it's a perfectly reasonable thing. But I feel like the main conflict, like the physical conflict of Thor and Loki versus the angels, is like, yeah, that was cool. Like visually, it was cool, but really the conflict is everybody conflicted with Odin. Like Thor feels like the 10th, literally the 10th realm was kept from Thor and Loki. Odin could have told them that.
Yeah.
Angela is the daughter of Odin. Odin could have told her that. And the Queen of Heaven, her main conflict is with Odin, and Odin doesn't show up until the last panel of the 4th issue.
Hey, what is that? What is that hut that he's in? He's in prison, or he's in this kind of like dreamland hut. He's playing chess with somebody. And
so I do know one thing. He's playing chess with his brother Kull, who is the serpent god.
Okay.
But I'm not familiar of the timeline of why he's there.
Right.
I just know that at that time, Odin is not the ruler of Asgard. Freya and the Allmothers are the leaders of Asgard at that point. But they had to break him out of there. So apparently it was serious enough that he needed to be held there. I have a feeling maybe it involves his brother Kull and the Pale King and the Dark King fighting over the chess set,
Yeah.
that's talked about in that episode.
Hey, do you know, to get all kind of meta, do you remember? So last week when we were talking about original sin, which was an idea that vigilantes are always trying to solve problems, but they basically are creating their own problems all the time anyway.
Yep.
This is an interesting take that it's the other way around. So here's Odin. He's the opposite of a vigilante, right? He's the absolute sovereign. He is the law. And he's trying to control everything from the law point of view. And he also is creating problems everywhere he goes.
I would actually submit for your consideration
Yeah.
that Odin does not solve a lot of problems.
No, he's always trying to compartmentalize people so that he's trying to control how much information everybody knows. And it always comes back and bites him in the ass.
Always.
Yeah, he's a real villain, Odin.
So,
he's not a good guy.
I actually a while back I did well, no, actually I did the supporting characters. I did a top 5 supporting characters of Thor, and I had a few people reach out to me and say, like, why isn't Odin on this list? And like, Odin is the furthest thing from an ally that Thor's ever had.
Yeah, he's not a supporting character.
If I'm putting together a top 5 enemies of Thor, Odin makes the list. But they're always in conflict, and I feel like Odin is perpetually his own worst enemy. Like, he constantly creates problems for himself by being this brash, bullheaded, like, I am the man. Like, why aren't you guys realizing that I'm the man? He's very pompous, very, very self-absorbed. He's infatuated with his own power, and it doesn't lead many positive places.
Why does Thor turn out so good? How come he's so good? If he had that kind of screwed up family, Loki, it makes sense. Loki growing up with Odin as a father, that makes sense.
You know
that he ended up being Loki.
That's a question I've never actually asked.
Is it because Thor, came to Earth and learnt how to be a real person or something? Is that part of the story?
He learned how to be a real boy. So that honestly, because I know Odin's intention for Thor was that he learn humility, which is the pot calling the kettle black. Like, you need to go learn how to be humble, like learn how to respect the people of Earth. And it's like, okay, Dad, when are you taking your trip?
Right.
Like, it's the do as I say, not as I do. Way of looking at that. And one thing for fans who you may not go out and read a lot of Thor comics, but the Thor movies. The Anthony Hopkins Odin has his secrets, but Anthony Hopkins Odin is, I would not say, a accurate comic book portrayal of Odin.
Right.
Odin in comic books is much more Greek pantheon Zeus like he's very manipulative, and he works behind the scenes a lot of different ways, and he's just very scummy. Not a great dad at all. I don't think he's winning the Father of the Year award anytime soon. But they're very different. Anthony Hopkins Odin has like one secret, and Hela is his secret, but in comics he has like 1,001 secrets. And Angela in this storyline is one of them.
I guess maybe that's right, because Hela in the movies, I guess maybe that's why I found the idea of Thor having a secret sister was a bit underwhelming to me. And maybe that's it, just because in the movies, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this story before. Yeah, it's not the comic book writer's fault. When did this storyline come out? Like 2015 or something?
So the Angela became a bigger deal in Marvel Comics in like 2014, 2015.
Okay. Yeah.
And then Ragnarok came out. Oh, good grief! Off the top of my head, I want to say 2018.
Yeah. So it's not the comics' fault. I'm fully aware that like this story might have played out really different if I had read it when it was being published. But looking back at it now, having already watched the Ragnarok and all that, now it's kind of like, oh, okay, Thor has a sister, right? We get it.
Thor has a sister, big deal.
Do you know about Angela? Do you know about the character Angela, like where she came from, and do you know the story here?
I know zero about her.
I don't know
publication history. I know nothing.
What was your comic history like? When did you start properly reading them and paying attention to them? What was your era? What brought you in?
So let's think. Well, so when I was this is great. I'm being interviewed on my own show. So
Hey,
my
I'm a podcast host. This is what
no,
I do.
yeah, if anyone's gonna do it, you're overqualified. So my
Everyone,
history
listen to
was
10th Theology.
I got some free Scholastics Book Fair comics. I remember my first issue of comics was an Iron Man one shot that was like from the Extremis time period. But I don't remember how old I was. I was a child. And so I was just like, ooh, pictures, cool. Like I didn't even know who Iron Man was. I knew nothing. And
Wow.
I don't come from an especially geeky family. Like my history of general nerddom is Star Wars. Star Wars
Yeah.
and Lord of the Rings are my things that began all this. And then
But that Iron Man stuff, is that 20? What are we talking about here? 2015? 20? I
ooh,
can't even remember.
Extremis was
2010,
before
2000s?
before then. Yeah, yeah, definitely in the 2000s. But
That's
um,
right.
I'll look it up as I'm just filling in the blanks here. So then
Eddie Granoff and yeah.
I did not live near a comic book store, so I lived out in the middle of nowhere in Midwest Iowa, and I didn't really know comic book stores were a thing, which is crazy because people from bigger towns probably you're like, well, yeah, there was one down the street, or I could pick them up at 7-Eleven. Well, I couldn't, so I had to wait for the Scholastics Book Fair to come through, and all that stuff. So I remember though when I got into high school and early college, I I went to some comic book stores. I'm like, okay, what titles resonate here with me?
Yeah.
And it was Jason Aaron's Thor, so God Butcher, God Bomb, and then
Okay.
and then Jane Foster's Thor, and the Thor movies. Like of the first phase of Marvel movies, Thor was the one that I would watch on repeat. And we just did a review of that movie. That movie holds a very special place for
The
me
first
because
Thor.
the first Thor, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
It's good.
because I wasn't an educated comic book fan at the time, so like I didn't know who the Destroyer was. I didn't know who the Warriors 3 were. I knew nothing.
Yeah.
But that movie like made me want to fall in love with comics. So it was Jason Aaron's Thor and Jeff
Oh,
Johns'
cool.
Aquaman. Those are my two.
Oh, cool.
Those are my two titles that I started with. And then I remember, my friends at college. We would every Wednesday we would go to the comic book store. My buddy would pick up Deadpool and Batman, and then I'd pick up my Thor and my Aquaman, and we'd go back
Yeah.
to our dorm room and we'd read it. So yeah,
So
my history is
I'm older than you, right? So I'm 45. So I was my comic entry really. I mean, I was as a kid I was reading them, but I didn't pay attention. I didn't know anything about it. But when I started actually caring about it was the mid 90s. And this was the whole bubble. I mean, the Marvel famously like almost went out of
yeah,
business, right? It
yeah,
crashed in the late 90s. And so I was part of the bubble. I was being sucked into the bubble, which was the era of the superstar creators.
yeah,
So right, so you got Todd McFarlane, you've got Eric Larson,
yeah,
right, you've got Jim Lee, you got these guys who then they all went off and started Image Comics
yeah.
famously. So, and this was the era where you would collect, like, do you remember, I don't know if you even know, where Todd McFarlane was given Spider-Man. He was given the run of Spider-Man. He was given his
I know
own.
his artwork from there. I haven't read a ton of nine
Yeah, right. And this was one of the
Spider-Man.
very first times, at least it was a big time, where a rock star artist was given a title and he was able to write it and draw it,
Yeah,
and it was out of continuity. They said you can do whatever you want, and it was like he was given the keys to the kingdom. And he made, I think, a pretty good run. Actually, the first 10 issues or so were pretty good, actually.
yeah,
And he did his own Spider-Man. It's a really famous thing, but they famously like printed multiple covers, and people like me would buy them all and bag them up and make sure, I've got unopened, sealed Spider-Man Todd McFarlane covers, and Also, the death of Superman. I've got Superman in the white bag and the black bag, and I've got all that stuff. I totally went for all of
Do you
it.
know do you know what the value of those books are now? Like
No,
I
I should look. I should check it out. But one of the things that so then what happened was Todd McFarlane,
yeah.
who's this yeah, I mean, anyway, you probably know who he is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So Todd McFarlane then just it all kind of went south with Marvel, as Marvel tends to do with artists and writers. Like things just don't work out. And he and some others went off and started Image Comics. And one of Todd's first things he did with Image was Spawn. I don't know if you ever read Spawn.
Yeah. Yep. I've read a Spawn comic.
Right. And I have Spawn #1, which must be worth something. I don't know. But
my gosh.
But
nuts.
I don't know if they're worth anything now, because when they made Spawn #1, lots of little 13-year-old nerds like me bought lots of them, right?
Yeah.
So you're not a collector's item if it says #1 collector's item on the cover. It's not a collector's item. So
that's
we were
true.
all thinking,
that's true.
We were all thinking we were investing in our future, you know. But
yeah.
I mean, it's probably worth about $10 an hour or $30. But I thought it was going to be worth $3,000, because you hear all these stories like Superman #1, $40,000. Like, oh wow, that's going to be me. But anyway,
it's no Action Comics #1.
Oh, but I do have Spawn #1, and I did like McFarlane, and he gets a bad rap now because he's kind of associated with that whole like bubble bursting comics, just all sizzle no steak kind of thing, all Image no.
Yeah,
I mean, I even called his line Image comics. Right? It's just all style, no substance. But I got into it. I liked it, you know.
Yeah.
And Venom came out of that. McFarlane was one of the first. David Michelin and Todd McFarlane were the first people to create Venom, for example. So there's some fun stuff that came out of that era, I think. But then Spawn, I can't remember which number it was. It's pretty early on in the Spawn run. So Spawn is a demon. He's like a guy sort of released from hell in order to fight other demons or something. I don't know the story. But Angela shows up, and she's this sort of angelic demon hunter type person.
Yeah.
And she's in the Spawn world. And she was written by Neil Gaiman. So Neil Gaiman was asked to come in and guest write for Spawn, and he invented the Angela character. And then, weirdly, so remember that Todd McFarlane had left Marvel because he was upset that, oh, you don't give creators their due rights. We create characters for you, and you don't give us our what's due. You don't pay us enough. So I got to start my own line, Image Comics, where creators own their own characters.
Yeah.
And Neil Gaiman created a character for Todd McFarlane. Did Todd McFarlane give Neil Gaiman the credit and give him the money? No, he did not, right? Well, it was one of these like really interesting events where you could see the real world business and politics of comics. And so the Angela story was a big deal. And Neil Gaiman took Todd McFarlane to court, and they were in court for a long time over the rights to this character. And eventually, I'm probably getting some of the details wrong here, but in the court to settle it, one of the things that happened was Neil Gaiman won the court case. And one of the things he got out of it was he got the rights to Miracle Man. Do you know who Miracle Man is?
I know the name. I don't know a lot about the character itself.
Yeah, it was one of these sort of ancient characters, which the rights had been all tied up in courts for ages, and it ended up in Todd McFarlane's hands. And then Todd McFarlane had to give it to Neil Gaiman in part payment for Angela. And then Neil, and it just led to some, and Alan Moore was all involved as well, because he used to write for Miracle Man. And so it's just kind of there's some kind of interesting stories of real world character creation going on here. So I don't know what happened to Angela after that, but she then got bought back into Marvel. When Neil Gaiman won, he won the court case. I got to go and look this up on Wikipedia or something.
Yeah.
Basically, the headline is the fact that she's now in the Marvel universe is like a big F you to Todd McFarlane and Image Comics.
Well, fun.
Right. She's been brought in to Marvel as a way to kick real world creators in the crotch. Like she wasn't brought in for artistic reasons. She was brought in because like we need to start using this character now because we won her in court and we really want to stick it to Todd McFarlane, rub his face in it.
Well, I mean, this.
So Marvel has this woman, they don't really know what to do with her, and they made her a Guardian of the Galaxy, and then they made her blah blah blah, and now they've made her Thor's sister.
I mean, aesthetically, she does fit in the look of Thor's world, and
yeah,
I'll be interested to see. Maybe we'll down the road we'll do a deep dive on her limited series, the Asgard's Assassin or something like that.
Yeah.
Because that was her first solo.
Do they keep any of the? Do they even pretend there's a Spawn element? Like, do they say that she came from another universe?
Not that I've seen, but to me, like, could they even do that? Like, could you even reference Spawn in a because he's one of the more like the 90s kind of indie comics boom.
Yeah.
You know, like he's one of the main headliners that you hear. Like Spawn was the first. I think it was one of the back in the 90s or early 2000s, whenever this came out. I remember one of the neighbor kids was like, "You should come over and watch this new superhero movie." And I was like, "Oh, who's a superhero?" And they're like, "His name's Spawn." And I was like, "That sounds like something my mom would never let me watch."
No.
But I was like, "Who is Spawn?" Like, because I knew enough about characters.
It's literally a superhero from hell.
Yeah. It's like, Mom, can I watch this? She's like, no, and don't even ask me about that Hellboy thing. But he's one of those characters that, you know, he's outside of the big two, and he's still, you know, I would say he's relatively mainstream.
Yeah,
at least the name is mainstream. So
I'm sure the Marvel universe doesn't reference the Spawn thing anymore.
Yeah, might have to be like a special crossover.
But like the Angela thing, universe doesn't need another redhead walking around with a gold bikini on, right? Like that's not the fact that they call her Angela and stuff is there's some. What's just more fun is just to see that this is a conversation that the creators are having with other creators. That's why she's in here, right?
Yeah.
And now you're watching them do something with her. And it'd be interesting to see if they can make a good storyline out of her. I don't think this one is that story though.
Well, yeah, because she's ancillary to this story.
Yeah.
She's basically a prop piece until the last issue.
And then she's set free. She realizes she doesn't need her father anymore.
I think the last little bit of narration for her is she did not have a home in heaven or on Asgard, and then just see her like flying away.
Yeah.
So they leave it open-ended for them to do something with her, and that spins into Asgard's Assassin. I guess we'll see.
Maybe one day she'll become a big household name. Maybe she'll become like a Black Widow or something. But
maybe
I'm not holding my breath.
But any other last kind of thoughts about as we wrap up the 10th Realm story, and we wrap up our time with Stephen Backhouse for.
I like the trippy. I like the god stuff. I mean, I enjoy those scenes of Odin with his brother in this mystical nether region, and I enjoy that sort of stuff. I always like these storylines with the Thor world where it's endlessly recurring. Like Loki is always a trickster. He's always going to be a traitor, and Thor is always going to be like the dutiful son who then has a crisis of self-confidence. And Odin is always going to be the master manipulating father figure. Like I quite enjoy that there's something archetypical about them and mythical, and they just keep repeating the same. They're almost like they're all doomed to repeat the same story over and over again. So I find that fun when Marvel does that, where they draw from the mythic world of stuff. I enjoy those aspects. So
there is this little itty bitty tangent here. I once asked a small group of Thor fans, you know, what if you had to define Thor and his world with one panel, what panel would you choose? And there's a panel from Walt Simonson's Surtur Saga, where it is Thor, Odin, and Loki, all in very heroic stances. Thor says, "For Midgard." Odin says, "For Asgard." and Loki says, "For myself."
Oh yeah, yeah, cool.
And I thought to myself,
That's good.
yeah, that's about, if you're going to talk about the three main like linchpin characters
Yeah,
of the family dynamic in Asgard, that's a pretty good way of describing their dynamic. And so like that's, to me, that speaks to what you just said. Like those characters have the consistency of like every iteration, every incarnation, it has to come back to, Odin is
yeah,
for Asgard above all, Thor is going to defend Earth above all, and Loki is eventually going to turn the situation
yeah.
towards his own favor. So
I think I
I,
kind
I
of
agree with
missed.
that.
I think I missed. I would like to have seen more Thor in this. Actually, like I just didn't feel like he was. I like the Thor in the MC in the Marvel movies. He's
Yeah.
funny, and there's something quite charming and funny about him, and kind. Like he, whereas I didn't see this at all. Does that happen elsewhere? Like what kind of Thor book should I be reading right now if I want to read something where it's just a little bit more shows a spark of character or something?
So you know what? Before I give you the recommendation, I will say I I see that exactly. They play a lot into Thor being a tortured, he's a tortured soul,
Yeah,
and he's very, am I worthy? Am I not? Am I worthy? Am
yeah,
I not?
yeah,
I would say that a lot of that you have to get in glimpses, because Thor's main thing is worthiness and
yeah,
being the vanguard of the 9 realms, or the 10 realms now.
yeah.
I think if you're looking for that vibe from a Thor comic, read Jane Foster's Thor,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
because Jane's version of the character initially is much more, she's much more Peter Parker-esque, in
okay.
where she's like, I have all these powers. What do I do with all these powers? Good grief. Like he had this power all the time. And like,
Yeah.
and she's much more like, gee, wow, like all that kind of stuff as
Okay.
she's figuring out. Whereas Thor now in comics, especially with Donny Cates and Nick Klein's run, the current run of Thor, he's settling into his role as king. And he
Okay.
definitely does not approach that with any form uh of levity. There
Really?
are there
Okay.
are moments of levity. Like anytime Frog Thor shows up, he is
Right.
awesome. But also there's like one
Did you
shot
see him in Loki? Did you see him in the Loki?
loved it. And immediately, like they showed a frog, and I was
Yeah.
like, immediately, I was like, you know what? It's all good from this point on. But
You're in good hands.
I loved that reference. I also loved the Thanos helicopter.
Yeah.
That brought me infinite, quite, oh, wow, I didn't realize the pun I was doing there. Infinite
Infinite.
amount of joy.
Infinite.
Yeah, I would say if you're looking for that vibe from a Thor comic, I would read some Jane Foster.
Yeah, because I think it's most fun because Thor is silly. Like, what's fun about him is that he's silly but doesn't know it, or his seriousness is very silly in other
Yes.
contexts.
It's
And
the fish
so
out of water thing.
I don't mind him being serious and speaking in Shakespearean language. Like I don't mind that, but I want the story to recognize that other people also think that's silly.
Yeah.
Whereas what I saw right now in this one that we read, nobody thought any of it was silly, and it was all being presented as super high stakes. And there was,
Yeah.
and I was like, no, there's the best Thor stories are the ones where people have a bit more fun with him,
Yeah.
even if he doesn't know it, even if it's at
Yeah.
his expense, right?
I think I agree with that so much. Like he is often in comics. I will make a clear distinction there.
Yeah, yeah,
He is often if you're looking at a classic comedy duo, he is the straight man.
yeah, yeah,
And what makes him funny, or what makes his stories funny, are the people around him playing off him. Like that's why he has the Warriors 3. Like those guys
yeah,
are there to bring levity, and they're
yeah,
supposed
right,
to bring his spirits up.
yeah,
The frog exists to be fun. Like
yes.
that's his
Okay,
role.
so there are so I'll read the Jane Foster ones. What else is there? Is there anywhere with actual Thor? Odin's
So
son?
I think Walt Simonson's Thor
Okay,
is equal parts epic
yeah.
and incredibly entertaining.
I mean, that's the famous one, right? I mean, that's
Yes.
yeah.
And
I think I've
so
got some old ones in my
I don't I don't
collection somewhere.
I don't like to be a broken record about it, but like I mean, it's the run of Thor for a reason.
Yeah, right.
And and it's done so masterfully. Like I think the first 12 issues are just perfection. And then after that they get into some more like whimsical fairy tale kind of stuff,
Right.
which is more it's more levity than you would normally get.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's moments, but if you're looking for a run of Thor like the MCU Thor, um, you might have to get it in bits and pieces.
The other thing is, do you ever deal with the new, like, was it not the Miles Morales universe? What was that
The
from
Ultimate
Marvel?
Universe.
The Ultimate. Do you ever deal with the Ultimate Thor?
So, like on the show or personally?
Yeah, in the show.
So, I'm gonna be working with a buddy of mine who actually lives over in London too, and he loves the Ultimates. He
Yeah.
loves the Ultimate Thor, and I do not know the Ultimate Universe well, so I'm gonna be
But
sometime this year.
that's
We're gonna,
that was fun. Like the Ultimate. So you can tell when you're watching the Marvel movies how the Ultimate Universe is really influencing Thor character as well.
yeah,
But what the Ultimate Universe does is they make it really strange how there's a god walking amongst us. Like he's just this mysterious being that sort of shoots out of the sky and then
yeah,
disappears and is just like a god. And he hardly has any character at all. He doesn't even talk very much, I don't think, in the Ultimate.
okay,
So that kind of godlike being who can shoot lightning and control the weather and whatever uh, comes into the Marvel universe in the movies, but then also brings with it the Walt Simonson kind of funny character. And so
yeah,
I feel like the Marvel movies do a really good job of taking those two characters of Thor.
yeah.
But I really you should definitely look at the Ultimate Thor and see what they
I,
do, because
I will give it a
the
shot.
the idea the Ultimate as a storyline is great when the characters are building a team and then all of a sudden a god shows up and they're like, oh crap, now what do we do? We've become a real team. Something's happened
He
now all of a sudden.
has to be on the
Even
team, right?
yeah, and there's some really good vibes, a bit similar to the way Hawkman feels on the Avengers. Like, I'm just the guy with the bow and arrow. What am I doing here? Well, when Thor shows up at the Ultimate, it's like, why do we need anybody else? Like, what is our purpose?
It's like he can play all the positions. Why do
Yeah,
we need? But yeah,
exactly.
well, I'm glad that the transferring of recommendations is always good. I'm always looking for, because I've not read every Thor comic, and what's funny is some people who are maybe less familiar with how many comics there are, they're like, oh, so you've read all of Thor? I'm like, no, I've scratched the surface. He is
Yeah.
my favorite character for a reason, but that doesn't mean I know everything about him.
And he's been going since the 60s or something. So
I think this year will be his 60th anniversary. So
crazy.
I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll do a bunch of anniversary episodes, and the first time that Thor like scratched his butt or something like that. Or I don't know. We'll make everything a big special episode this year. So, but man, Stephen, thank you so much
This
for
is fun.
joining me for the 10th realm story, and really the 10th realm story, and then a bunch of other stuff. So thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. When, as we say on the show, we'll see you down. We'll see you down the road.
Yeah. I'm really glad to have been here. Thanks for inviting me, Ryan.
Well, that is going to do it for our episode today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the conclusion of our conversation with Stephen Backhouse. He was, like I said last week, he's just a great guy to talk. He's a great guy to know, great guy to talk to. He is one of the most intelligent people I've heard break down comics. So, yeah, he kind of reminds me of Douglas Wolk that we had on a while back. So, Stephen, if you ever are hard up on work, just go review some comics. I think you would be great at it. So, before we leave you today, I'm going to give you a unique Ryan recommends today. And this is more, it comes from my heart to hopefully your heart, your ears, your brain. Um there's a thing that happens sometimes in comic book communities, in nerd fandom communities, where nerds and people that are a part of fandoms, they can kind of be jerks. Where we have such a deep love for the thing that we love, whether it's comics, Star Wars, Star Trek, Game of Thrones, whatever, Harry Potter, whatever. And we love that thing so tightly, and we can't let loose. And it makes it really hard for other people to engage with that fandom because we become gatekeepers. We tell people how they can enjoy the thing that we already enjoy, and we kind of become isolationist about those things. And here's why I'm saying this. I love comics and I want more people to enjoy comics. That's really why this podcast exists. I don't want less people to enjoy Thor. I want more people to enjoy Thor. I love his stories. I love what they've taught me, and I want more people to enjoy them. So this week, I recommend that you read the comics you enjoy. If you love old school comics, read old school comics. If you love new comics, read new comics. If you love both, read both. I personally love both. There aren't a lot of comics that I dislike, unless, and of course, you learned, last week on the Original Sin show, I don't enjoy the Punisher. So, but read the things you enjoy. Love the things you love the people you love the creativity that you have. Enjoy the things that you enjoy, and if someone doesn't like that you enjoy that thing, okay, move on. um, Surround yourself by people that feed you intellectually, emotionally, um, and physically. Don't forget to surround yourself by people that feed you physically. But yeah, all of that to say, enjoy the things you enjoy. If someone doesn't enjoy that thing, great. Move on. Enjoy the comics you enjoy. And yeah, I think we'll all be better served if we just let each other enjoy the thing we want to enjoy. So, that being said, here's some great ways that you can continue to enjoy Across the Bifrost. You can go and follow us on Instagram at Mighty Thor Podcast. You can go join our free Facebook group where we just ask that you be kind and courteous to the other Thor fans that are there. We've got a great little following there, so there's a lot of people there that would love to talk Thor comics with you. You can go search at Across the Bifrost and Mighty Thor Podcast group on Facebook. You can also leave a rating or review and a subscription here, wherever you're listening, whether that's on iTunes, Spotify, or any other pod service. Go do that. It'd be a great way to support the show. Please, we want to know that you're out there. We want to know that you're out there and that you're enjoying what we're putting out. So that'd be a great way to do that. And if you have thoughts about the show, comments, things that you just want to tell us, we also have an email that I've been neglecting to mention. We have an email. It's mightythorpodcast@gmail.com. Go there, and we would love to chat with you. So all those are great ways you can go and support us. Don't forget Patreon. We have new stuff coming up there this week. It's probably already up there by the time you're listening to this. So you should go get on that, and you should go check out our new Patreon exclusive show, I've Got Issues with Ryan. So that is all for today, friends. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. I hope you enjoyed this little chat, these reminders that we like to send your way. We appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. And as I tell you every single week, friends, dear listeners, sojourners aboard the Bifrost, wherever you are in the 9 realms, I remind you to stay worthy.